Hi, to access the contract feature in Telagus, log in and go to the left menu bar and select Finance, then click on Contract. You will see the list of contracts, if already saved before. Or if there are no records available, you can add Create New Contracts. But before adding a new contract, let's first learn to add supportive details for a contract. If you want to have some attachment files on the contract, then you need to add the contract attachment by clicking on Contract Attachments button from top right of the page. It will take you to the attachment page. List of the attachments will be displayed if there are any attachments already saved on the system. Click on Add Contract Attachment button again from the top right corner of the page to add a new contract attachment. On the pop-up menu, enter the name of the file or name of the attachment. This will be displayed in the list while adding the attachments to the contract. Then click on Drop File here, or you can also drag and drop the file to the box to add the file. List of accepted file types is already displayed on the screen, so you need to add the files only with the mentioned file extensions. And the maximum file size should be 14 megabytes. Once the details are filled, click on Save Files button from the bottom of the page to save the attachment. It will start displaying on the attachment page. You can view the full-sized attachment by clicking on the layout of the file displayed on the page. You can delete the attachment by clicking on Delete button if you do not want to use the attachment again. Once the attachment is added, click on Back button to go back to the main page again. Contract item is also the important thing to add before preparing any contract. To add the item to the contract, click on Add Contract Item from the top right of the page. A list of all the contract items will be displayed on the page, if any items have been previously added in the system. Click on Add Contract Item button again from the top right of the page, and start entering the details of the item you wish to add. Enter the title for the item. Then enter the description for the item in the next box below the title. You can change the description formatting with the options provided on the menu bar as shown in the display. Whatever formatting you will make to the description will be displayed on the actual contract when you add the item with formatting. Select the unit of the item from the list. Enter the limit of the quantity of the item to be added in the contract. And set the price for the item. Once all the details are entered, click on a Add button from the bottom to add the item. It will start displaying on the contract items page. You can also update or delete the existing item by clicking on the Update and Delete buttons from the display. Click on the Back button to go back to the main page again. Once the attachments and items are added, you can proceed adding a contract now. Click on Add Contract button from the top right of the page. It will open a new pop-up menu. First, choose a client or lead from the list. The list will be displayed after entering 2 or more characters to the box. It will display the list similar to your inputs. Select a client or lead from the list for whom you want to create a contract. Then select a contract date and valid until date to set the contract duration. Then you will need to select a tax from the list, whatever is applicable. If there is no tax available in the list, or you want to add a new tax, click on Add New Tax button to add a new tax as per your requirement. To add a new tax, enter the name of the tax and percentage of the applicable tax. Then click on Add Tax button from the bottom of the page to add the tax. It will then start displaying on the list of tax. You just need to select the new tax from the list you have added recently. Next field will be Contract Reference Number. If you have any assigned contract number available and if you wish to assign the same number to this contract, just enter the number by yourself. Otherwise, leave this field blank, and system will automatically assign a new reference number for your contract. And you can add the notes for your contract, if any. Once all the details are added, click on Submit button at the bottom of the page to add the contract. It will add the contract details to the system and will start displaying on the list of contract page. Once it is listed, you can choose the actions from View, Update, or Delete the contract from the button on the right of the contract. Click on Edit button if you want to edit any details of the contract you have added. Click on Delete button and confirm the delete to delete the contract from the system. Once it is deleted, it won't be recoverable from the system. Click on View Contract button to view and add more details to the contract. The left portion of the page will display the contract items, Contract attachments and the right portion of the page will display the predefined agreement format. You can edit the formatting and wordings of the contract by editing the things on right portion of the page. There is a feature in Telagus to use some tags into your contract formatting, which is basically to use your system stored data into your contract. Click on Contract Content Guideline button from the top right of the page to learn more about the tags feature of Telagus. So, you can write the content into the contract as per your requirements. Click on the Add Attachment to Contract button to add the attachment to the contract. Select the attachment from the list, or you can add a new attachment by clicking on Add Contract Attachment button and then click on Submit button to add the attachment to the contract. Once it is added, it will start displaying on the left portion of the page. You can delete the attachment by clicking on Delete button on the attachment. To add the item to the contract, click on Add Item to Contract button. Then from the pop-up menu, select the item from the list, or you can simply type the name for a new item and you can add a new item directly. Then add the quantity to the item, update the price if required, and click on Submit button from the bottom to add the item to the contract. Once the item is added, it will start displaying on the left portion of the page with all the details and calculations. And the tax details will also start displaying with the item. You can update or delete the item by clicking on the Update or Delete button on the right side of the item. You can also add the discount to the item by clicking on the Add Discount button on the top right of the page. On the pop-up menu, select the discount type from Fixed or Percentage, whichever is applicable. Then enter the amount of the discount in the next box and click on Submit button to apply the discount. It will start displaying on the left portion of the page with the item details. You can also edit or delete the discount by clicking on Update or Delete button on Discount Value. To modify the settings, click on Settings button from the bottom right portion, and the pop-up menu for settings will be displayed. Select Advance Payment Type from the list from Fixed and a Percentage. Set the advance payment amount based on your requirements. Enter the number of days for sending the invoices after completion of each service from the contract. And you can define the number of days before the notice to be provided for contract cancellation in the last item from the menu. Once you have set all the things up, click on Submit button to save your changes. You can always change the settings by clicking on Setting buttons again. To add the signature of the marketer or the contract creator by clicking on the Add Marketer Signature. In the pop-up menu, you will be able to draw your signature in the box displayed. And can also clear the signature by clicking on Clear button. If you are done with the signature, click on Save button to add the signature to the contract. Once all are set, click on Preview Contract button to have the view of how your contract will look like. You can still make any changes as may be required by accessing all the functions as explained in this video. If you want to revert all the changes and want to make your contract in the original system-generated format, click on Revert Changes button at the bottom right of the page. And save the contract to save the entire details and formats you have prepared. Once the contract is saved, you can send the contract to the client or lead by clicking on the Actions button from the top of the screen. Then default email address of your selected lead will be displayed on the To email address. You can also change the email address by typing a new email address into the To box. You can select your team member registered on Telagus from the list displayed in the section CC to add the email address into the email copy, and multiple email address can be selected in the email copy. And also you should be able to add the BCC addresses to the email by selecting one or multiple email addresses in the BCC section. The default notification email address will be your default email address registered with Telagus. So you will be able to receive all the updates with regards to this contract, like client's acceptance, rejection, or client's message on your registered email address. You can go to Telagus settings to change your default email address, or you also can type the email address in the box to have the notifications on a different email address. You can also add other email addresses in the next section to get the notifications on other email addresses too. And in the last section message, you can write the message you want to send within the contract email to the client or lead. Once you set all the details, click on Send button to send the contract to the client or lead from Telagus. Please also note that the attachment you have selected will also be attached to the email and will be sent to the client or lead within the same email. If you wish to download a copy of the contract in the PDF format, click on Actions and select Download PDF to download a copy of the contract in PDF format. At the last, if you do not want the contract, you can delete the same by clicking on Delete button. The status of the contract will be displayed as draft until the contract is sent to the client. Once the email is sent successfully, the status of the contract will get updated to sent and the client will receive the email with contract PDF file and contract attachments. And there will be 3 different options in the email provided to the client. The first option would be Accept. If the client would like to accept the contract, they should click on the Accept button from the email and will need to add a signature to the contract and click on Save. Then the status of the contract in the system will get updated to accepted and signature of the client will also be added to the system as a part of contract acceptance. The second option would be Decline. If the client click on Decline from the email, they will need to mention a message as the reason of the decline and click on Reply button. Then status of the contract will get updated to declined in the system. And the third option would be Message. If the client wants to send a message to the marketer and click on Message button from the email, they can write a message and click on Reply button, which will be updated in the system and will be displayed to the marketer. The marketer will need to amend the contract and send it again to the client if there are some changes required. Thank you.